Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. It is officially Black History Month. And yes, before y'all tell me my voice is crazy gone. Girls night was amazing. But listen, shout out to Black History Month. If you follow me for any bit of time, you know that in February I like to post a lot of interesting facts and tidbits. This year I'm going live and talking about the stuff instead of just posting the regular pictures and kind of giving y'all a little history lesson. And so listen, Google is doing the doggone thing this year, okay? If you don't know, they had a little thing yesterday. They're doing it for Super Bowl. I think it's going to be a Super Bowl ad where they're showing like some of the most popular search Black history facts or something like that. It's crazy good. But if you don't know, on the Google homepage today, on the very first day of Black History Month, they're talking about a 60-year-old Greensboro, North Carolina sit-in. And so, kind of one of the things I want to talk about is the fact that we got to stop talking about, Black history, this and Black people and this, that, the third. Listen, we've been through some stuff, and it's not like it was that long ago. Get over it. This sit-in was 60 years ago. That means there are folks that are still living right now that went through a very terrible oppression. And I'm going to tell you right now, we're not going back to oppression. We're not going back to no form of slavery or oppression. Y'all just need to deal with it. I'm not usually considered a militant person, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be extra Black this year. I'm sorry, but I'm really disgusted with a lot of the abuse and a lot of the things that have been happening to Black people over recent years. And so I'm going to be extra black during Black History Month. And so this might be a month you might want to not follow me. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But this is where Dr. H I'm really passionate about, just civility and justice. I'm over the injustice that Black and brown people are experiencing every single day. So February 1st, Google Doodle depicts the Greensboro 4. And if you don't know about it, I'm telling you about it because I'm looking at it. So what's the Greensboro 4? 60 years ago. This was just 60 years ago. This wasn't 120, 160. This was 60 years ago in Greensboro, North Carolina. And what happened was 4 Black African-American, whatever you want to term you want to use, college students quietly sat down at a whites-only Woolworth. Now, y'all know, first of all, Woolworths was way back then. I remember Woolworths. But yeah, they sat at a lunch counter at Woolworths in Greensboro, North Carolina. And they wanted service and wouldn't get it. But they got requests to leave but wouldn't leave. And so they eventually, went on. They didn't get service. They came back the next day and did it again. Within 3 days of their protests, more than 300 students joined the Greensboro 4 sit-in. There's power in numbers. 4 people sparked 300 people within 3 days. The South was so segregated that, it makes you wonder why there's such oppression when it comes to Black and brown votes in the South. Listen, the political sphere is real. And if you don't understand why those in power want to suppress and oppress the Black vote, I don't really know what to tell you. But within 3 days, 4 people sparked a revolution of 300 people at a Woolworths. If you feel like you can't make a difference, honey, I don't know what to tell you. That's just wrong. You can make a difference. It doesn't take a lot. You as a person, you can make a difference. Okay. And so it's really interesting about this because again, this was only 60 years ago. Like seriously, only 60 years ago. That means there are people living today that went through this, that experiences. You could probably find people and ask them, where were you on this day 60 years ago when the Greensboro Four started protesting Woolworths so that they can get service? You can probably find people who can talk about what happened in this situation. So, I'm just saying this is really powerful, because it comes a point when we have to stop saying, oh, that stuff is in the past, it don't matter. No. There's a reason why Black Lives Matter exists, because traditionally Black lives have not mattered. This isn't about killing Black people killing white people, how much black on black crime there is, or white on black crime. This is about the fact that traditionally Black lives have not mattered. And this is, if you're telling me that that happened 60 years ago isn't a big deal and we need to get over it, you're part of the problem. Your thought process needs to be shifted, because it's that kind of thinking that says we need to get over it. That's why we can't move forward. We have to talk about this. This stuff does not get taught in schools. When I was in school, I did not learn about this that happened 60 years ago. Here in America, in Jim Crow South. And I grew up in the South. I am a Floridian. I was born in the state of Florida. I was raised part of my life in Florida. The other part, I was raised in North Carolina, in Charlotte, North Carolina. And Charlotte ain't but a hop from Greensboro. Never learned about it. What does that say to you? Seriously, what does that say to you, to any of us, for that matter? So, we have to stop saying, oh, we need to get over that stuff. No, we need to be talking about it. We need to be really educating ourselves and our communities and finding out what can we learn from it, and really lean on the leadership community to say, how can we come together as a community of people and fix what's happening? Maybe we need to police ourselves, or whatever the case may be. Maybe we need to, support us, whatever it is. But talking about, oh, that happened 60 years ago, that ain't got nothing to do with today, is a lie before Jesus, because it got everything to do with what's happening today. The oppression that we and the systemic racism that Black people experience to this very day has everything to do with stuff that happened in the past. And we need to stop saying get over it. I don't care if you black, white, folks shades on midnight purple. Everybody need to stop saying, oh, you need to get over the past so you can move. No, you need to look at the past and have conversation about it so that we can figure out how we can move forward. What can we learn from it? And how can we move forward today? The problem is we don't want to learn from the past. And that ignorance of the past is what keeps us held, bound into systemic suppression. And that's how our votes get suppressed. And that's how a lot of people don't understand the whole voting process, and why people sit home on election day, which I don't understand that. I don't care. And folks only come out during the presidential election. And you realize now that your behind need to be out there voting more than just in the presidential election. You need to be voting when your local elections. You need to be voting these people in Congress out. Because if you ain't paying attention to what's going on right now, our democracy is like at stake here. You got to understand why it's so important that your vote is being suppressed on every single hand, because you don't know what has happened in the past. You don't know your own history. And so it's like, oh, okay, dig deeper. I challenge everybody, every person of color. If you are a Black person, you need to go research the Greensboro sit-in from 60 years ago. Don't take my word. Don't take Google word, CNN, anybody else that's reporting. Don't take our word for it. Go out there and research it for yourself and find out what happened with the Greensboro sit-in 60 years ago. This happened 60 years ago. I can't keep saying that enough, because that means there are people alive today that can probably tell you where they were 60 years ago. Just like the other day when they were talking about the Challenger, the Space Shuttle Challenger, when it exploded, and everybody was saying, where were you when the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded? I know where I was. I was in the classroom right here in Florida, I believe, somewhere. I remember when Space Shuttle, I was in class, in school. So you can't tell me that, oh, that's in the past. It was just 60 years ago. People still alive. People still alive during times of the Jim Crow South. The Jim Crow South has everything to do with what's happening right now with the suppression of the black vote. And especially from North Carolina down, especially, we got issues with voting. That's why your vote matters. That's why there's such a strong push to suppress the vote and to cancel your vote out, because your vote is your voice. And we're in a time where we're gonna have to probably go back to some of these sit-ins and protest. That's why protesting is so, but that's your constitutional right to protest. It's our constitutional right to protest. And maybe that's what we need to do. Because that's what worked in the past. That's how we, as Black people, got the rights we got now, because people protested and raised hell. That's what they did. Watch all of the race riots from Jim Crow South. They raised a lot of noise. Oh, so you don't want to hear me at the polls? Okay. You're going to hear me one way or the other. So that's how we kick it on Black History Month over here with Dr. H, the Global Mentor Coach. Challenging you to dig deep into your own history and know where you come from and know the sacrifices that other Black people made so that you can vote and have the rights and things that you have today. The fact that you can go to a restaurant and sit down and get service, when 60 years ago, four Black students couldn't go into a Woolworths and get service, sat at a counter, refused service till eventually they left. And guess what? They came back the next day. Same thing happened. Third day, 300 students from their college came with them. Trust me, you might feel like you small in number and, oh, you're not going to make an impact. It don't matter. You don't need that many. It was only 4 of them. 4. It was only 4 of them. Sometimes you don't need a whole lot of people. Just what you got. Use what you got. And be willing to get out there and say, listen, I'm a human being. Get beyond this and accept the fact that I'm a human being. I pay my taxes. I do what I got to do. And you gonna treat me like the human being that I am in this here country. So, I'm Black 365. I don't get to watch that off. But guess what? That doesn't mean that I'm less of a person than the person next to me that don't look like me. But for many years, that's how Black people have been treated in this country. 60 years ago, a Black person couldn't sit at Woolworths at a counter and get service. In a food establishment. Woolworths was more than the food establishments, by the way, but that's where you could get food, in the deli, at the counter. So when you walk into a Chipotle, a Fridays, a Chili's, Red Lobster, I'm naming some folks' favorite places, your local deli, your Publix, wherever, and you get food, just know that 60 years ago, that wasn't even a thing in Jim Crow South. They're looking at you sideways in Jim Crow South. Be grateful for the sacrifices and the risks that other people of color took so that you can have the rights and the freedoms of the things that you experience every day. So, love and light to you guys on this fabulous February 4th, 2020. We are in the second month of a new decade. Make it count. Love you guys. Have a fantastic day.